Okay, so here we are for our news package. And you got to see how the sports looked in the previous video, and you also saw the news package that we're going to do right now. And this is a shorter one. It's just a 6-second open because there's limited time. The sports packages might have a little bit more time, but it's totally up to you and you know who you're doing it for and how long they want it. But 6 to 10 seconds is usually the most you'd use. Now, there's a couple things I'm going to do. Let's go over here to our Lightwave side of things. Come on. Well, I guess it's minimized and I can't pull it up. There it is. And what we're going to do is start with our background image. Okay, so here we are in Lightwave. And if I go to my image editor, hello hub, just seems to like to come up and say hi once in a while. Go to press load, and from our broadcast package, in our projects images, there is the New York City No Sky. Okay, and what this is a little image I shot in New York down from a harbor cruise. Sorry about that. And that's the actual shot. And so what I did is I went into Photoshop and I took out the sky. All right, I'm including this so you can use it if you want. And if you double click an image from the image editor, you'll actually get it to pop up. And I did a really shoddy job here. I can, a little bit there, a little bit there, still needs to be painted out. I probably went a little too much in here, but it's not going to matter so much because we're going to try and use it a little bit more as a silhouette. We're not trying to really see the city so much as we just want this nice looking skyline. Okay, so that's why I took the sky out. Now with that, loaded into Lightwave. We'll come back here to our, I got way too many things open, don't I? We're going to come over here to our Create tab in Modeler. Go to our box tool. And we're just going to haphazardly create a flat box. Okay, just like that. And we're doing it in the back view because this is the view that our camera sees. Okay, so we'll turn off the box tool. F2 to center it out. And most likely this is flipped. Press the A key and we can't see it, so press F, it flips it forward. Okay, then we'll come down here to surface, and we're going to change the surface name to NYC Skyline. And this is going to be kind of a universal news because we're going to use some Chicago footage as well as skyline of Chicago, skyline of New York. Okay, so a little bit of both because I liked how both images looked. Obviously, you would try and use images only from your own city, but let's come over here and we're going to save this, Control S. Go to our broadcast, projects, objects, and we'll call this NYC Skyline. Okay, we're going to send that out to layout. And then we're going to go to our surface editor. Here's the skyline. Okay, and if now, initially, you might think to just map it right on there, right? Well, here's what's going to happen. Let's just do that. We're going to go to texture editor for color. Okay. It's an image map, blended normal, planar meaning it's flat. What's the image? New York City sky, the one I loaded. On the Z, which is straight ahead of us, you can actually see Z-axis right back there. Automatic sizing. Okay? And what I'm going to do is just press F9 to render a current frame. And you can see that, okay, well, we see white. It's kind of dark. Okay, it's off-center because I just moved it. Not really looking like it's doing much. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go back into the image editor. I'm going to clone that selected image. Okay. And you can see now it's No Sky number 1. With this one, we're going to choose alpha channel only. And what that does, because I created this as a PNG file in Photoshop, essentially just painting out the sky with a transparent background behind it and saved it as a PNG, I get a nice alpha channel. It's embedded in the image. Okay. Back in the surface editor, I'm going to go to texture for transparency. Image map, normal, planar. What's the image? Not the sky, but the alpha version. Automatic sizing. Use texture. Press F9 to render. And now we've got somewhat of a mask. Now, it's inverted because I always forget. White actually cuts through, black remains. Sometimes I mix it up, which I don't know why. So we're going to invert. Okay, just go back into that transparent texture. Press invert, which just basically reverses it. F9 to render, and there you go. Now you've got a nice skyline. Now, why is it black? Well, that is because our environment back there, backdrop options from the Windows dropdown, okay, is just black. If I put a gradient color on just for the time being, and I do a little render, look what happens. Okay, we actually can see all that clipped away. Now there is a clip map in Lightwave, but this was just kind of a simple, easy way to do it with just one image and one surface editor. So from here, let's get to our camera. Go to Properties. We're going to use globals for our blur and for our global resolution. Okay. I think our default focal length will just be fine for now. Then we're going to go to Render and turn on Render Globals. Okay. 6 seconds. All right. We're doing 30 frames a second NTSC for our international friends. I think it's 26 frames a second for PAL. I'm not exactly sure. So we're going to do it. We don't want 10 seconds necessarily because we're just going to get in and get out. And in the news package, I was saying how you should leave a little bit on there, which you could, So let's do 280, something like that. You can even just make it 300 frames if you want. But okay, we're going to also go broadcast res D1 NTSC, which will be fine. And if you want it widescreen, you can do that. So it'll be a pixel aspect of 1.2. Okay. Now for the camera, let's press 6 to get to our camera view. And from here, I'm going to just move this in like this. Okay, make sure it fills the frame. So you notice I actually set my camera resolution first before I set my camera position. And why is that? Well, see these borders on the side here? This is where my camera will fall off. Okay. The reason I see these is just because I have my Lightwave set very wide. If I, made it really narrow, now I see them on the top. Okay, so that's all that is. But that helps me line up my shot perfectly because I've already got my resolution. A lot of people will do this first, then they'll change the resolution, and suddenly they've got a gap in their image. So you've got to be careful with that. So I'm going to line that up. And in this particular one, this is opposite of our sports package because we're not going to do so much with the camera as we did before. Now it's going to be a little bit more of the elements. Okay, auto key is on, which means when I move my camera, it stays put. So let's do another render. Okay, and now what's interesting is it looks like we've actually replaced the sky. You can still see a little bit of that brown back there. Okay, now we're not going to do that so much. We don't really want this big bright sky. Now it looks very fuzzy, right? But if you notice that render was clean, well, if you press D for your display options, okay, you can change that display resolution. So if you come in here to OpenGL, to that tab, OpenGL Textures is on. It's only set to 256. And I mentioned this in one of the sports videos in the very beginning. If I go to 1024, you can actually see that resolution come a little bit higher. If I go all the way to 4096, I'll be able to see all the full resolution. And you might want to turn off pixel blending. Okay, pixel blending is good if you're going to have an image that's moving and it goes far back in the distance, or comes really close. Because what it'll do is essentially blur those pixels together of the image, so you don't get like a little pixelated image. It'll just get blurry. For this, you don't really need it. I'm kind of a fan of not using it because by default it'll be on even when you go to your surface editor, which changes edit by scene so we see everything. Pixel blending's on. Let's turn that off as well. Okay, because what that'll do is just it'll blur your image, and often a lot of people leave that on when they're doing labels and things like that. I used to as well. Hello, Hub. And it just kind of blurs your image a bit, and depending on what you're rendering, you might need to if you've got a lot of sharp lines. But okay, so there is our skyline. All right, now we haven't set the background yet, but what we're going to do now is actually build our fonts that we're going to drift behind the city, and in front of the city. And with this image, which is not huge, but a little bit bigger than broadcast res, I can just really just do a nice thing like this. Just kind of take the camera, just do a simple pull like this is what we're going to do. Okay. So we should probably start right there, but I'll show you. We're going to end up right here. We're going to start in about there, and the fonts are going to go, and then we're going to pull that out just like that with the final reveal, like you saw. One of the things too that's really neat about this is that I'm going to show you how to do all of this right in Lightwave. And as I said with the sports, most of that's 3D elements edited together in Final Cut Pro, or perhaps a Video Toaster or something like that. We're going to do it all right in Lightwave, and I'm actually going to show you how to create a wipe in here to actually transition from the still image to the moving video. So let's just continue on with this project with the next video.